All right. Welcome to Hegemony Revealed with me, Shahana, and Gary. Once again, episode number 12. Well, 10, 12. Yeah. And and we are so excited to have you join us today. Hopefully, we get a lot of commentary. But one of the things that we're going to be kind of talking about, and we were kind of sideline conversation before we jumped on, was the Barbie movie and all its nuances and what it was about. So we're gonna and how much it revealed hegemony. And Shahana said something about how everything is losing. People are seeing the hegemony and how if they see something it starts to lose power, and like what I say with all my clients, if you name it you tame it. So it's like your trauma, your emotions, your in the injustices of the world, if you call them out, if you name it, it loses its power. Okay, so let's name all this stuff in hegemony so we could tame it and we can recreate. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, yeah. I so agree with you, Trina. Because see, as long as the underlying narrative remains invisible, and it's like this invisible aura penetrating every facet of our lives, right? From education to economy to jobs to the market to healthcare, everything. But you can't see it. You think this is how it is. This is how it
Mm-hmm.
works. This is how it is supposed to be. This is how it has always been, because it's been so for the last 50, 70 years. So in our living memory, at least of our, more or less our age, it's how it has always been. And we don't question why it is like this. Who said it had to be like this?
Yes.
Who made these rules? It's not like an universal law of the sun rises in the east kind of a thing. So, what is it?
Yeah.
And the moment you start seeing what is it, the moment you start connecting the dots and you start seeing, oh my God, this is just a facade, just an illusion with all these key patterns. So you have, for example, a trade law here which makes corporations stronger than nation states.
Mm.
And then you have something that USA does to snatch resources from global south, and you see the connections.
Oof. That's perfect that you just said that too, because with Niger putting their foot down, and I'm applauding them.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
applauding
Oh yeah.
them because I had no idea, and I think I posted a video about this. I had no idea that France is taxing, it takes 50% of
Yes.
all their uranium sales, no matter where it goes. No matter where it goes, 50%. How? The audacity.
And how dared they? I mean, what right? What right does it? Who gave them the right? Just the color of their skin? Who gave them the right to exploit people halfway around the globe, snatch their resources, impoverish them, destroy their lands, kill their people, just to increase their GDP, to stay in power within the global G7 and make mandates in IMF, World Bank, and UN?
That's right.
Okay, I rest my case for now.
Boom.
The gavel falls.
Oh my God. There's so many places we can go already. And I just think, like, inviting again, anyone, if you're watching us live or watching this back, please do put some, comments, challenges, ideas, build on what we're discussing. But I'm going to link really curiously, Trina and Shahana, the Barbie movie to an experience yesterday. So for anyone that hasn't seen the Barbie movie yet, I saw it with my wife, which was really cool. She's seen it twice. There's a lot of, as with anything that makes $1 billion on this planet, there's a lot of to and fro and back and forth. But I loved it as a cis white male who gives a monkeys about systems, about justice, about equity, about a future that's actually going to be thrivable for the next generations. I loved how it prodded and poked at the patriarchy, at capitalism, at systemic oppression in its own little ways. If you know what you're looking for, you can see the nuances, you can see the pokes and the prods. But it was done with such lightness, such joviality, to the point where you've got all of the Mattel board on a long tricycle, basically 8 of them, Shahana, going along on a tricycle into like Barbie land. Like the way they made it was so stupid. They landed the messages so directly, and I think more of that is coming. So what I did yesterday, just very quickly for anyone that's out there, I did my own version of playing. So I actually, sitting with part of a multi-billion turnover petrochemical company, I was having a meeting with 2 people and said, honestly, can we really talk about sustainability honestly and continue to grow our business every year? Are we willing to have a conversation with the elephant that's in the room with us? And they just went,
I love that.
And it was just literally that moment that we just discussed, which was just, I didn't actually say anything apart from offer a curious question.
Yeah.
But the veil you spoke about, Shahana, in that moment, you could see the worldview shaking in their eyes, because it was just like, what if this isn't all real? Yeah. And then that links again, like Barbie Land again, right? What if it isn't all real?
Yeah. Well, what I really loved about this movie, the movie itself, was the nuances and the directness, like you said. One of the things that I loved, there was this mind, body, spirit element in it as well, where Barbie is in Barbie Land, and Barbie Land is pretty awesome. It's like a matriarch. Everybody is, women are in charge. And oh, by the way, spoiler alert. Sorry, Shahana. I'm gonna have to spoil a little bit. Okay. So there's this part where Barbie starts to change. Like, she's the typical Barbie, and then there's President Barbie, and President Barbie is a Black woman. I was like, yeah. So, and then, but all the positions of power are women, and Kens are there, but Kens are, Ken, there's a line in it that says, Ken's day isn't complete or happy until Barbie looks at him, and it's like he is dying for her gaze and attention. So there's Ken, like, represents actually women in the patriarch, within Barbie Land. So, but Ken and Barbie, well, Barbie has this spiritual experience where she starts thinking about death. When her body starts morphing and all these changes. And it's because her handler, or the person who owns her in Barbie Land or plays with her in Human Land, is having these thoughts and these connections. So I noticed how it was playing on the connectivity we all have. Our consciousness is all connected, and what we do together can manifest into a result. And if we choose something different, we create a different reality. We create a different paradigm. We create a different system. So why don't we start doing that as this one is falling? We can easily start doing that now.
Yep.
So I loved it. There's so many nuggets I can just like pick out and say, Hegemony Revealed, Hegemony Revealed. But I highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it. And I was shocked because I wasn't expecting any of it. I even choked up and cried at one point in the movie. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Once you start seeing it, then you just see it. It's no longer an invisible power, infiltrating everything. that you can't pin down. You can pin it down. You can pin it down very, very easily to the set of rules and laws and regulations, to the to the economic monomyth that is ruining the planet, and you can say precisely how these came about, where Bretton Woods took us, where the Chicago School of Economics took us, and why and who. Everything is clearly visible. And once you see that, you know precisely why the people who created this narrative wanted to keep it so invisible. Because once it becomes absolutely clear, it's like, it's like your gay moves are made public.
Mm.
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 And
Yeah.
once they're made public, then people will say, hey, how dare you do that? That's not a fair move.
No. Silence is uh, the partner and the accomplice of oppression. You know.
Yeah, and obfuscation. The more they can obfuscate, the more they can confuse, the more
Mm.
they can, sort of cover up all this with greenwashing, whitewashing, think tanks apparently fighting climate crisis, but sponsored by the biggest oil and fuel industries.
Mm.
Uh, Scientists who are actually coming up with scientific results as per the instructions of the oil industries.
Mm.
So you have this whole, it's kind of this, I have money, so I've bought people in the right places who are constantly weaving this narrative. But now, oh my God, they are just, say, 10,000 people, but the rest of the 8 billion are suddenly seen through this. Now
Mm-hmm.
what? Now,
Mm-hmm.
now is our approaching obsolescence. But oh my God, we don't want to let go. We are having too much fun. We are enjoying all of this because we are just overgrown adolescents who don't want to grow up and take responsibility for our action. We would
Mm.
rather destroy what we cannot have,
Mm.
throw things in a fit of temper, but we won't behave responsibly because we are just cognitively unable to take responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. We never understood that.
Yeah. That's not just a line from Spider-Man.
No,
No,
not at all.
no. It's true. It's true.
But we don't want
And
to know it, right?
yeah,
That's
I
that
also
would be.
I also posted a video for the top 10 wealthiest billionaire families. That that even though they tried to spin it with this kind of like, and they're philanthropists, and I said that type of money, those 10 families could give everybody in the world 1,000 or more dollars a month, and no one would need to work.
So when we talk of universal basic income, you think the world can't afford it? Of course they can. It's
There you
just
go.
there.
There
It's
you
it's
go.
it's
And
right there.
where is it all going? You think everyone is working themselves to the bones, are idiots, or stupid, or fools?
No.
But where is the fruits of that labor going? Where are the resources of resource-rich countries going? Why is Congo today what it is? But the world of so-called electric vehicles cannot survive without Congo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would never get made.
Mm-hmm.
It's Trina. I have to thank you for sharing that on LinkedIn as well, because I tell you what, I watched the whole thing and it was fascinating. It started off with fascinating, it then went to anger, and it then went to this is curious, because just to reinforce what Trina shared, like the top two, get ready for this number. Two families are worth cumulatively over $400 billion. Nearly $500 billion is their net worth. 20
Mm-hmm.
human beings on the planet. How the hell, excuse my language, how the hell do we accept a system that supports that level of extraction continuously? And that's been happening for generations, but we're now seeing it, as you said, because we're seeing it. We've got the data. We've got movie. You know, we can see that all this different type of content's coming out, like what we're doing, right? It's Hegemony Revealed. We're lifting the lid. But I was astounded. Even I've got to say, I was astounded. And the whitewashing of the philanthropy message, Trina, was unbelievable. Oh, so made all this money. Oh, by the way, everyone, guess what it was? It was mostly oil and gas, my industry. It was a heck of a lot of retail, and it was a fair bit of technology. And when we think about those industries, what supports all of that? What was missing, though, Trina? Interestingly, financial services, nowhere to be seen. Really, a tiny bit, but not much. Not much.
Yeah. Well, the Rothschilds they're definitely invested.
Yes.
They said in the video they're invested in everything that you can invest in that is the hegemony controls everything. And so oil, gas, banking, finance, everything. And they were number 1 or 2. I can't remember if they were number 1 or 2. So, I don't think people know this information. I don't think people know this information, just how wonderful it was the Saudi family that was the richest. 1.7 or 50, some astronomical number in the trillions. Not billions, trillions. And something like wherever they go, they have so much power and opulence that everything has to be changed to gold. What is that? So if they go stay at the hotel, they'll expect all the pictures to be changed to gold because that's what they are used to and that's what they want. Can you please explain to me how this is okay and how we have so much poverty in the world and scarcity in the world when you have one family living like that? And then, Garry, you said combine 2. Now imagine if you combined all of them. Okay?
Ultimately, we are a world with finite resources. That's known. That's scientifically proven for those who want science. Now, if you take finite resources and just 20 people or 10 families or whatever take 80% of those, then obviously there is going to be poverty. Very obvious that there is going to be massive inequality and upheaval. So just imagine, take these 20 people or 10 families or whoever, pack them in a capsule, send them into space, never to come back. Imagine the planet can flourish, even with a few billionaires or whatever here and there, millionaires here and there, and a few crooked folks. Even then, the planet will flourish.
Right. It's unbelievable because they're the ones extracting the most.
And the funny thing is, there is this whole myth around how hard work and intelligence is getting them the wealth, how they have worked hard to acquire what they have, hence they deserve it. So who has created this myth of hard work for people who are basically just rentiers and extortionists? I mean, where did hard work come in when you're exploiting and extorting?
Oh, it's a gaslight to motivate people to be slaves. Work hard. When it has nothing to do with working hard.
We have to keep working hard so that, of course, they can turn their billions into trillions.
Exactly.
And I'd love to add at this juncture, and I'm just going weirdly back, a little bit of a link to Barbie again, loose tenuous link, an invitation to my skin folk, right? I can see how much pain you are in if you run a multinational business, if you run $1 billion business, if you're accumulating more and more and more money. I know you are not happy on the inside. I know it because I've been there. I know what it feels like to have everything on the outside and feel spiritually bankrupt on the inside. So my invitation is with this conversation as well, is please get curious. Work with the likes of Trina. Bring in the likes of Shahana to come and do some really generative work in your cultures and your organizations. You are not broken, but you may well be lost. Because I've been there. I've been lost before, but you're not broken. But we need more of you to realize that that clenched fist is literally taking us off the edge of a cliff.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I had to get that out. Sorry, Shahana and Trina, but
Yes.
I really put that invitation out so directly. But
And thank you, Garry, for adding in the comments something that I was searching for. We are on the same wavelength. Yes, that everyone needs to watch that video just to get context on how 10 families have that much money. And well, not even just the money, they have the resources that they are basically controlling everything that happens in the world. They're controlling what's happening in Africa. You know what I mean? They focus on when I think about Gates and Musk and what's the other guy? Bezos. They are paupers. They put those faces in the front so that we can focus on them, but it's not, they're giving them the license. They're giving, where they chose them to be the face of the billionaires, because they're just like actors in a movie. They're replaceable. They're replaceable. They give them little bit of crumbs and lifestyle and make everybody wish they could be that. And that's another invitation that I would like to give to people. We have been gaslit and brainwashed into thinking that money is the end all be all for everything, when in fact that most of the wealthy people I know are miserable. Like Garry said, they're miserable because they know in their hearts and their spirits that how they're living is it's finite. It's not going to be forever. So they do all this stuff to make themselves crazy in order to make their lives extend. And you can't take any of that with you. You can't take it with you. So the happiest people are the ones that are the most generous. They get joy from that energy exchange of lighting somebody that face up. I saw recently, what's his name? The Rock give a house to this African MMA fighter who was literally had $7 in his bank account. But everything that he made in his fights, he sent back to his village, where he built a pump for water, to clean water for the village, because they didn't have that. And the fact that Africa does not have access to clean water is a travesty. There's no reason for this except pure greed from the West. And the fact that the West is screaming, stop it. I think more people think me like you and I, all of us, than not. And the ones that don't have a vested interest in fear. Fear of change.
And also, if I'm not wrong, this whole myth of let's for as an example, let's say the American way of life. What is the American way and American dream, or whatever it's called, that people have been petrified into thinking that if they live a less extractive and a less exploitative existence, their way of life will be shattered. Now, what the heck is that way of life? I've never quite understood. Because how can it be shattered on a cleaner and greener and more generous and a more pluriversal planet? How can, I mean, what will be shattered? What exactly will be taken away if you live a life of greater generosity, less disposable stuff, and fewer mega malls and box stores, and just more clean green spaces, beautiful forests, cleaner oceans. What will exactly be shattered? What is this American dream? I've never quite understood it.
It's an illusion. It's just it's a
Precisely.
it's an illusion that was created as the only American, I can tell you. It's an illusion to justify the enslavement of everyone. And the and
Exactly.
it's an illusion because if you make people believe that one, like you said, you work really hard, you get these luxury items. It's that, as we've talked about this before, Garry, you brought it up, the disconnect. That disconnection is how they replace capitalism is how they replace the disconnection. Buy this. This satisfies. This will make you feel more beautiful. Um, uh, do this. This makes you feel more pumped up. And these are aspects of ourselves that we should already just have. But there's so much trauma that is created by these systems, like I said, on purpose, because if you deprive the connection, you create a desire for validation. The desire for validation is filled with capitalistic things, material things. And then at the end, you doing all this causes stress. And what do? You have everybody has different coping mechanisms. So you eat it away, you drink it away, you drug it away, whatever it is. Okay. And they flood the system with these poisons, these toxins, in order to make you even further disconnected. Okay. And so then that feeds another industry, medical, for profit medical, that feeds the big pharma. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. And then they stop that currently because that was not sustainable. It's not been sustainable. As women in particularly have been like, I'm not having no babies, or I want to choose to have a baby. So I have these abortion rights. Oh, well, let's take those away because we don't have, first is we have too many people. Now we don't have enough people. Okay. So we don't have the cycle. We don't have the regeneration of people to come in and take over the positions because because I have to take a deep breath because it's really emotional for me because we have people absolutely losing their minds every day, living in this unsustainable cycle of abuse and trauma, wondering, how do I get out? How do I get out of this cycle? And we have people trying to heal themselves. We have people recognizing the hegemony. But until we get rid of certain aspects, like in the Barbie movie, the patriarchy, until we get rid of these very oppressive systems, we just keep the cycle going, and nobody is benefiting. The planet's not benefiting. Women, men, nobody is benefiting from it. No one. Only people are benefiting, kind of benefiting, because they don't even realize they're not benefiting. That's the problem too. Are these wealthy people? They're not benefiting in growth, in connection. They live in towers away from everyone else in experiences in life. They make these phony, I don't know, they make these phony existence in order to feel something. And that leads into depravity because simple things no longer satisfy them. So now we have the child trafficking and human trafficking issues because they can't just have healthy, loving relationships because that's not enough anymore. So they hurt other people.
Yep. So this whole hegemony, going back to what we started with, this
Mhm.
entire hegemony, this veil, this illusion, is foundationally built on a few of these, these building blocks. This myth of hard work, this myth of constant growth, this myth of owning the biggest possible car and the biggest mansion you can, this myth of owning and extracting and being in constant competition, and this whole myth of success, individual success, where individualism has been taken to a distorted place of fragmented beings who are disconnected, like you said, Trina, so eloquently, who are disconnected not only from others, they're disconnected from themselves. They can't love themselves, so they need all these phony these trappings to appear interesting and appear, well, whatever, just to appear, just to make their lives more livable for themselves.
Mhm.
So they're caught in their own trap. They are caught in this, like this fly in a trap syndrome, and they are trapped in the hegemony. It's people like us who can see it, who can rip off the veil, and who can say, hey, we choose not to support the hegemony in every possible way we can. We choose we choose to make choices, take decisions, and do whatever we can to keep ripping off the veil and living a
Right.
different life as far as we possibly can while we exist still within this extractivity,
Right.
but as far as possible, so that gradually the extractivist economy is debunked. It has to. But they don't have a choice. They have now caught themselves in this, literal trap, and they are so enmeshed in that web, they'll get sucked dry in. It's like this Venus trap, which will trap the insect and kill it.
Mhm.
They are now trapped in that hegemony. They can't escape. They are going to be trapped in like a Venus trap, like a fly in a Venus trap.
It's so. Do you know what really hits me as you both speak? Is this? I always visualize this as three spirals or three circles. It's like reconnection to ourselves, reconnection to our communities, a reconnection to the systems that sustain us. And I think only by embracing all three of those together can we actually exist within a system that is collapsing and imagine beyond the system that we're still trying to, where we have to get by within whilst it collapses. And I think what I observe so much is that, and again, because I've been through it myself, is that I didn't even think about systems 5 years ago, honestly. Like they were so far out of my own experience of life. And I was so disconnected to myself and my local community. And then I now come in this space with both of you in community, and it's just like, I know what it feels like. Again, it's an invitation for me. I know how alive we can feel, regardless of money, regardless of possessions, regardless of what we own, when we connect to ourselves, others, and the systems that sustain us. That is literally all we need as a foundation. And I really
Yeah,
mean that from the bottom of my heart. That's
yeah,
truly,
yeah,
that's truly how I feel now.
Yeah. It's true. We need far less than what we've been told that we need. That's why I was actually having a conversation just a few moments ago with someone else talking about how the people who created this capitalistic model, this patriarchal model, they're so low vibration. And their low vibration went out into the rest of the world and saw how all these higher beings were living in such joy with nothing. They thought, we'll just take their stuff. They don't need it. They don't seem to mind, because higher vibrational beings don't mind sharing. They don't mind saying, "Hey, are you hungry? Here's a meal. Hey, how are you? Hey, you're different. Let's dance. Let's smile. Let's." But lower vibrational people see that as a way to exploit rather than expand to get to that higher vibration.
Yep.
And so the world has been living, we've been living in this world where the only way that you can actually kind of expand now is to disconnect from the other lower vibrational people,
Yep.
which is actually not productive either. You know, it's like we should be trying to lift people up, you know, but it's hard to keep that when you have everybody kind of trying to pull you down. No, you have to be like us. No, 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 no. You can't think independently. No, 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 no. What are you happy about? You have nothing. You know, it's this mentality, you know, where as a I feel so detached from the concept of even family now because my family still operates on this very low vibration. So I genuinely have nothing in common. Like I've had to reframe what the concept of family means. Okay? Because I don't resonate with that energy anymore. I don't care about celebrities. I don't care about things that don't lift me up, you know? It's like you need people to connect. Like you need the energy to
Yep. Yep.
exchange, right? And that's why I'm so grateful for you two because I get that from you guys of like this exchange of energy trying to vibrate higher. But the majority of the world is so scared and so um, beat up and tired. It's like we've gotta lift the resonance. You
Yeah.
know, we have to lift the resonance, and it's not going to happen with fake gurus and stuff like that. It's going to happen with internal changes of your compass. You know, like one of the things that I always tell people, oh well, when I'm presented on certain things, Trina's the expert. I said, please don't call me an expert.
Yeah.
That's because with that attachment of expert comes a expectation that is low frequency for me.
Yeah.
It's low frequency for me now. I don't have any pride in that way. I've been trying to limit that ego for so long that I just want to be a person trying to do better for the world, for my child's future. That's where I want to be. And my lived experiences have brought me here. But I had to push and fight and to just exist and have those experiences that I'm not supposed to be having. That a person that looks like me as a female has is not supposed to have been able to live all over the world. That's a privilege, you know, but I have to fight for that. So we got to work on that, people. We got to lift our resonance so we're not judging everybody and each other so much, you know. Um, I don't know. It's tough sometimes.
It is. It is. And this whole hegemony thing, like you so rightly said, Trina, is not only an illusion, but it's also so low frequency because that's what it survives on people's fears, on people's complexes, on people's biases and prejudices, on people's inability to love themselves and each other. So
That's
by
right.
creating polarities, by creating discontent, by creating this constant sense of dissatisfaction and dis-ease,
Mm.
they continue to keep you, oh, unhappy, go do some shopping. Oh, your friend has a bigger car. Oh, you can't afford one. Oh my
Mm.
God, how tragic.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Okay.
You don't have the latest model in whatever the people are supposed to have the latest model in. I don't care for brands, so I don't even know.
Yeah.
But so that's the thing, because otherwise, imagine the brands wouldn't survive, marketing wouldn't survive, advertisements would go out of existence unless you're
Mm.
advertising for a cleaner, greener planet or for saving the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Advertisements could do that.
Mm-hmm.
They could. They could
Yeah.
say, you know what? If you stop buying all the stuff we have been advertising for the last 10 years, just stop buying. You become our brand ambassador for a cleaner planet.
There you go.
Genius. Genius.
Imagine that advertisement brand would be the most famous in the world, which says, stop buying all the stuff we have been selling you.
Yeah. You
We
don't need
were,
all that shit.
you don't need any of that. We were
Oh my God.
disillusioned.
It's chaos for cash. That's all it
So,
is. They create
and
chaos
so,
to
so
make
you
cash.
become our brand ambassador for protecting the coral reefs or whatever. I mean, whatever they have been advertising that
Right.
have been killing the oceans, the mountains, and so imagine this. It just takes a little shift in perspective, just seeing the corner of from the corner of my eye and
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Hey, let's flip it on its head.
Right.
Let's call myself out for the fraud I've been. Let's come in front of people and admit that we have been mistaken, very, very gravely
Mm.
mistaken."
Mm.
It doesn't take much. It doesn't take billions of dollars. But the point is, that is what they're scared to do because that would have a planet united of 8 billion united beings against 20.
Right. Ah. Chaos. You know what's so interesting? The fastest path to growth is accountability. Just to be able to say, hey, you know what? I've been reflecting on what you said, or I've been reflecting on my life, and, I have been a bit of an butthole.
Yep.
And that's not what I want for myself anymore. And I'm trying to realign. Um, if these particular wealthy families chose to truly give back and reinvest, we everybody would be happier, including them. You know, including them. And we wouldn't have to. They wouldn't have to build rocket ships to get off of the planet uh, because it would still be sustainable. Or as the Saudis are planning to build some crazy looking um, structure in the middle of the desert that's everybody's gonna live. It's like a big long. It all I know it looks like a prison to me. That's all it looks like to me. It looks like a prison in the desert where everybody's laughing and smiling and thinking that they're happy in this little oasis, but they can't leave because there's no place to go. It's like a huge bunker in the middle
It
of the
sounds
desert.
like it sounds like that cuckoo flew. What was that? One flew over the cuckoo's nest kind of a
One
thing.
flew over the yeah, one flew over the
It
cuckoo's
sounds
nest.
like that.
It's
Yeah.
insanity. It's insanity.
Insanity of the kind that you don't want the children of the future to look back and say, was the whole entire planet of 8 billion insane, deluded,
Mm,
or what? Because ultimately, if you look at their lifestyles, like you said, Trina, it's not only fake, it's not only fake and phony, it is they've cloistered themselves away from the real world because they're so afraid.
mhm. Afraid to lose what they
Afraid of
should. never had.
Yes. Yeah.
Afraid to lose what they should have never had.
Yeah.
I imagine a world that would have developed naturally on its own. Each group doing for thousands of years before they went out on their boats and just traded. Now, there's more and more evidence, archaeological. I can say that word really, evidence that the Egyptians were in Scotland, in the Grand Canyon. Like we have there's evidence coming out that we as a community, a global community, were trading for thousands of years around the globe because the earth changed, you know, Pangea, everything. We had ways to connect, and that actually we were more advanced then than we are now. So, what does that tell you?
And yeah, so again, this whole part of the myth making, right? I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
whole myth of 1492, Columbus discovered America and Vasco da Gama somewhere later discovered India. India wasn't discovered. It was a thriving land of people already living there for generations and thousands of years.
Exactly.
When half of Europe was living in caves, it was already. I mean, there were 3,000 years of history already. I
Exactly.
mean, you happen to bump into it in your ragtag boat. Great, welcome.
Yeah.
But you didn't discover it.
It's so ridiculous.
I
And
love
it happened all
I mean,
over the
look at the
world.
language. Look at the
Yeah.
sly use of language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because the West didn't know about India, it didn't exist. So look at the objectification and the subjectification, and who's doing the observing and who's doing the history writing.
Mhm.
And then that history continues to be taught as history, perpetuating.
Oh, I wanted to mention something really important, really quick, because I know we're getting close.
Yes.
We're beyond close. We went over
As we always do.
as always do, but it's okay. Um, right now is a time, because I got to get my spirit part in there of the Lionsgate portal.
Yes, I read
And
that.
so, yes, so I think it started July 26th, but yesterday on the 8th was the highest point energetically. And I got to tell you, I was getting goosebumps. I was like, what's going on here? So they say that this is the time to make manifestation and intention happen up to August 12th. So everybody who's watching this or who's here, um, rewatches, make some intentions, visualizations of where you want not only yourself to be, but where you want the world to be collectively. I ask everybody to make this intention for, love, peace, growth, and safety, and to release fear, so that we can create that parallel as this one is falling away, this parallel reality as this one is falling away. So I I wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. Thank you, Trina. And I just wanted to close my bit with when you said intentions, just a little bit of what I wrote this afternoon before coming into the call, a couple of hours before the call. Uh, I was writing about the series of wayfinders as organizations of the future and narratives of the future. And what should that narrative or narratives look like, feel like? And I was just writing a few lines and I said that the regenerative narratives of the future have to be aspirational and, to use a slightly old fashioned word, lofty. A narrative that will have the power to make people dream of not only the immediate future, but possible futures far ahead. As of now, we are all focused on the negatives of the old life denying civilization. It is draining to contemplate and doesn't inspire action beyond rage, grief, and despair. But I believe the time is here once again. We are at a juncture where an age is ending, and the soul of a world long suppressed is struggling to find utterance. This utterance is not expressed in a single hegemonic narrative, but the utterances of millions coming together in movements dotting the planet. That's my intention.
I love it.
Thank you.
Gary?
I just wanted to
Oh.
say, Trina, thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks for leading us today, Trina, and those that have joined us. I saw that Abimbola joined us on your platform, Trina. I just want to say I had a big reaction in the back of my neck and my body as you both spoke. And also the mirror being held up in what you both shared of the ongoing and continuous work to keep spotting these hegemonic patterns in ourselves, in those around us, and in the systems. Because I get drawn often into the rage and the anger, and that's okay for a bit, but it doesn't change a lot. So how to channel that into reimagining is a beautiful invitation by both of you. And I just want to say I really appreciate, and I love both of you for this space that we're co-creating. And just thank you. That's it.
All right.
Thank you.
We love you guys too. And thank you to everyone who has commented and who has joined us and who is rewatching this. Once again, let's create that intention right now because it's possible. We have to think about what's possible just as much as what is changeable. Okay? Okay, so I thank you and see you guys in a couple
Bye.
weeks. Bye.
Yes.
Take care, everyone.